Hello, dear friends. My lovely audiences. Welcome to the show, Jack Chow on the East West Show with GNE TV. Today on a Friday with my friend, Mr. Drexel Smith, I tend to start in a very light way by chatting some old subject, to see if we can find some new meanings in the subject. They all like the freedom here, including freedom of speech, freedom of expression, right? And the fact is that there are fewer people who recognize even freedom of speech doesn't come free, right? Well, to get to the point, to get to the fact, I have my friend Drexel Smith here to share with you about the concept. So, welcome, sir, to the show.
Thank you. It's always a great thing to be with you, Jack.
Very good.
And on
yeah.
a day when we have a hurricane at our favorite little runaway place in Hawaii today, and we hope that
Subdued.
the wind and the rain will be to the west, and the islands will remain with beautiful people and grass skirts and coconuts.
All right, very good, very good, very good. It's subdued. It's subdued to regular storm, that's it. No hurricane whatsoever, right? Regular tropical storm, that's it.
Yeah, let's hope. You know, Jack, I grew up, born in Los Angeles and raised in the shadow of War II. And I was raised with a set of freedoms that obviously in my youth I didn't appreciate until I had an opportunity to be in other places of the world. And as my hair has gone gray, I have learned to the point of being passionate that the F word freedom must combine with the R words respect and responsibility.
All right. So F comes with R's.
If one does not understand that these freedoms are not free, but truly has respect and responsibility, then they become abused, and that's when your citizenry becomes divided. That's when people push the government to get more involved, and every time the government passes a law, it's one more slice of freedom that goes away. I worry that every year our federal government, our state legislatures, and local governments takes on issues and takes another piece of our freedoms away.
Scoop by scoop, they're taking it away.
Not good news. As we begin the fall, passionate here in our country is the sport of football. We again have the football players taking a personal political point, and the phrase now is taking a knee and raising my fist in deference to the national anthem recognition
Yes.
as a sign of protest. It's my personal view, Jack, that sports players and entertainers are completely out of balance with their very high payroll compared to people that contribute to our society. So I already have a not good attitude. But when these overpaid people want to not recognize and appreciate and respect how hard people before them fought for the freedoms that they have that allow them to have free speech, by these kinds of protests, it bothers me. It angers me. They have full freedom to express themselves in many ways. There are many issues in our country that are not perfect, that need help. Go take your money, your resources, your effort, your celebrity status, and make an impact, but don't do it to the sacrifice of a fundamental responsibility.
I really agree with you. That's why we started with the whole concept we call freedom does not come free, right? So now, of course, they apply, say, hey, it is my freedom of expression, how I respect, how I look at the flag, or what do I do with the national anthem. But yet they do not realize who gave them the freedom of doing such.
That's exactly right.
Right? And lots of people, especially young people, they take everything for granted. They thought they were born with it, right? But for Martin Luther King, but for Rose Parker, those are big names, but for Abraham Lincoln, but for on, the list goes on and on. We will not have what we have, right? So,
Exactly right.
Okay, now, do you think the media, okay, instead of following the big names, instead of following the big glamour, they should come down and check each of them, what they have done to the country? Do you think so?
Well, you've opened up another whole box.
Yes, of course.
Of my concern about where mainstream media in the United States has gone, because I worry terribly that mainstream media has been taken over through buyouts and closures with mega corporations that are now engaged in the profitability of selling information, as opposed to the freedom of press, where every town had their own writers. Oh yes, we have a terrible problem. And I think that the media today and these large corporate giants see a more saleable news by having a big athlete appear to fight the system and promote that, as opposed to promoting other things. Oh yes, I think it's a big part of the problem. And it's a big part of the problem that these mainstream media giants have taken over and closed down so many outlets for news. We had several major newspapers here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
We have one that struggles.
We have problem with that they are going too far away. And the going too far away media, extreme media, have these celebrities so spoiled. As they are going out of nowhere. So we want to call our audiences, it's time to do something. It's time to say no.
Well, I think it goes to the heart of my comment. I am tired of people that can play sports and people that act. We now call celebrities and become the nationally recognized spokespeople when none of them have any real experience or training, and few of them are really engaged with social capital.
All right, my dear friends, today with my brother Drexel Smith, brother of the same mother, we're sharing some concept which I believe is very profound, that these days when you are busy in, busy out with your money, with your whatever you fumble, you seldom think about. However, once you do think about, the blatant core value is there, so you can't deny it. So with that, we take a little moment out. We will be right back, please. Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome to the East West Show. Jack Chow on the East West Show with GNE TV. Well, life is busy, day in, day out. Busy with everything we do, busy for the money. Seldom do we have time to sit down here to think a little bit, think about the freedom we have, think about the freedom system that lots of people pay dearly to get here for. Some even paid with their lives and didn't make it, right? Now that we're here, lots of people do not even know, lots of, especially young people, they take it for granted. And that, well, if that is the worst case, no, that's not even the worst. The worst case is that those young, professional, elite, those celebrities, especially those sports celebrities, they take it for their own. They play with their own rules. They do not even pay their respect to our national flags, national anthems. Right? These are small things, yet if you look at a microscope, you will find it a huge matter because we have posterity to talk about. We have a whole society to talk about, even if we do not have to worry about posterity. So, with me today, talking about a concern, is my good friend, Brother Drexel Smith, of the same mother. Well, of course, I respect him a lot. Every time he is here, I behave like a school kid, right? Because he's my mentor. Mr. Drexel Smith has a huge line of credit. I'm not talking about a bank line of credit. I'm talking about his credentials. He was a nuclear energy consultant on behalf of Westinghouse in a project with China. And the project is now kick off to start generating powers already. Good for you. Good for you, right? And also, he is a Rotarian for almost his full life, his whole life, and his Rotarian is right there, right? Well, the other side has the Rotarian page, right? All right. And he went to India and several other countries with the money out of his own pocket just to make sure the people there have clean water, drinking water. And he is now, every summer during this time, prior to go back to school, he puts up some campaigns, right, to collect money for school, for the kids, for social program, for after-school programs. It's a man of no respite. It's a man ongoing to whom I respect 110%.
My
about
goodness. What an introduction, Jack. I can't live up to that.
Oh my God. Thank you. You deserve it. You deserve it. To the issue that we brought up, I would like to see how you see it, please.
Well, Jack, I feel passionately strong, having been born and raised in this country, that the F word, freedom,
Not the other F word.
is really supported by the two R words, responsibility and respect. And I worry that we are using our freedoms without having the attendant respect and the responsibility that goes along with that. For example, you mentioned freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is vitally important. It's fundamental to allow people to voice objections and objections to people in high positions. It's fundamental in our country. An important freedom. But you know, Jack, that comes with responsibility and a certain amount of respect as well.
Yes.
And I bring to
You're
light
right.
this continued, as we start the fall here in the U.S., of football, with these celebrity athletes taking their personal issues and continuing to disrespect the national anthem that's really recognizing the freedoms in total that were put in place by people with a lot of sweat equity, blood, sweat, and in many cases, the ultimate sacrifice.
You're right.
They should have respect for that process and to take their freedom of speech with the issues that they're concerned about simply to another venue. However, we've somehow migrated to a class of society, specifically sports and entertainers, that are very highly paid, and I use that phrase in relative comparison for their contribution
You're
to
right.
society. You know, teachers
Yeah.
and people that provide other social capital in our society.
Firefighters, law enforcement
The
officers,
list goes on.
military boys and girls.
Yeah, the relative pay to me is out of balance. And to then say, in addition to making you highly paid, we're going to give you some special voice. These people aren't educated and informed where their voice is more meaningful than others. We have somehow got disconnected in a way that I think is terribly unproductive.
I agree with you. As a matter of fact, I find myself, I couldn't agree more with you on this whole thing right now. The other day I saw a video clip. It was either San Francisco or in San Diego airport, right? And it's a normally busy airport in that big hallway. All of a sudden, people started to stand up to put their hands together. When you watch next, there are a bunch of soldiers, on duty, active duty soldiers, carrying their backpack, walking through the hallway.
Yes.
Right? There's about 100, 150 of them. They stood there with a salute, standing ovation, for about 3 minutes with hand clapping to our soldiers, our boys and girls who fight for the freedom. I ask, anybody called them to stand up, to give a standing ovation? Everybody say, hey, ladies and gents, put your hands together. Give them a huge round of applause.
No, it was done by passion.
No, nothing at all. Nothing at all. Okay? Those Americans there, men, women, old and young, maybe rich, poor, whoever, they stood up all at once with respect. That is the respect the society give to who, in their eye, donate or contributes more to our system, right?
Yeah, and to that point, Jack, of a nation of not quite 350 million people, we have less than 20 million that have ever served in the military. That's current and previous service. That represents less than 7% of our country has ever given of themselves to go protect those freedoms. It's not the preacher that gives you freedom of religion. It's not the press that gives you freedom of speech. It is the soldier that protects those freedoms for our country.
Yes.
And that simply deserves respect. And I think if you're going to be treated as a celebrity, then you have the other R word, responsibility,
Yes. Yes.
to use your personal resources and your personal freedoms in an appropriate way.
And on the other hand, you have to respect your own position, to find your responsibility, Your responsibility being that you have to use your quote unquote role model as a role model for the rest of the folks, especially for young people, to show them how to respect what is called the respect.
That's right.
Right? When you there, kind of slanting like this, with a hand in a pocket, with a mouth chewing on gums, while your national anthem is being played, while your national flag is being risen, I don't think there's anything proper to do there.
I agree.
Right.
And yet, especially the sports athletes, with their financial resources and their personal celebrity, could make a dramatic impact in places like Chicago that were having a terrible time with class fights. As recent as a weekend ago, we had dozens of people killing each other. It is craziness. If you want to demonstrate your interest in social justice, go hike up your skirts and go to Chicago.
Of course.
And work with the police and the law enforcement and the people to help find a solution to that problem.
Okay, my dear friends, I'm so glad that we had a chance to talk about this, to discuss this issue with you. It is a small issue to the average eye, but to my eye, to this gentleman's eye, it is as big as heaven. All right. Without clarifying on this issue, we do not even have a future. This is how important it is. Let's stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello, dear friends, my lovely folks, my lovely fellow Americans. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow. Today with the East-West show on the GNE TV, using this very special moment for a very special issue. This issue, well, to the average eye, might not be a big one, but to the responsible eyes, to the visionary eyes, it is. It is so important that without which, without this, we do not even have a future. Joining me in sharing the concept is my friend, my dear brother of the same mother, Drexel Smith. So we're back to the issue. A question. A lot of them say it is your freedom to show your respect to the national flags and national anthem in your own way, and it is my freedom not to show the same respect. And it is my freedom, even if I have to show, I show it in different ways. I take my pants down to show respect, for example. It's my way of expression, all right? So there is a freedom of expression. I always take my pants down to show respect. How do you comment on that, please?
I wasn't raised in a school where taking your pants down was an acceptable
Well, they're not teaching,
way to express.
They're not teaching you taking your pants down
No,
as a
no,
way
I
to
was
respect?
never taught that. I was
No,
never taught
you
that.
never taught that?
No.
Then
Jack, if you, our court system since the 60s of burning the flag has tested repeatedly that you're exactly right. If you want to get fundamental, does the football player have a right to kneel and put his fist in the air? Yes, that freedom protects them to do that as well.
But
And that's sort of a period.
how about,
That's why I brought together the F word needs to be supported by responsibility and respect. There's a time and a place, okay? The great man who led racial civil rights in our country, Martin Luther King, would have never disrespected the national anthem and the flag. And yet nobody was a greater person to accomplish arriving awareness and consciousness and giving speeches, but he chose the right time and place to do
I
that.
recall many years ago, maybe 34 years ago, that was my first visit to Disneyland. In order to get there early enough to see the national flag ceremony,
Yes,
flag ceremony,
Yes.
we got there something like around 8:30, somewhere there, right? All right. By 9 o'clock, there goes the soldiers. They all dressed splendidly. All right. And then there goes the national anthem. There goes the flag. Right. There next to me, a little boy about three and a half something with an ice cream bar, right? With an ice cream bar. And he was kind of enjoying it while it was playing. The mother, the young mother, I still these days respect the young mother, stopped the boy eating that and to grab the ice cream and wrap it up, put it elsewhere, and put his hand on his chest, showed him to look at the flag, to do everybody does. And the little thing copied. The little thing copied, right? I wish I had a camera taken of the little thing, stand up straight, looking seriously into the flag, and of course he was caught like all of a sudden, something like that, right? So now I prefer people to be taught in a way like that.
I can't agree more.
I remember I wrote an essay about what I have seen.
and if you go to a national baseball game, the announcer will say, "Ladies and gentlemen, rise." All the baseball players stand at attention along the baseline. Take off your hats for respect, and you will see, with very rare exception, in baseball, people do that because part of the baseball players' agreement with the owners is they will do that. That's not a controversy.
Well, basketball, football, we do not see that as that much.
That's because the players think they have a different voice. Interestingly enough, Jack,
No. I'm not talking about, I don't think they deserve a different voice.
I think they think they have a different voice.
Okay.
They
Right.
think they do.
Or the way they were taught made them believe that they had a different voice in this specific issue.
Somewhere, the baseball fraternity has said, this is an American sport. We're going to treat American with respect. And you tend to go to a baseball game, and that respect tends to be there. Somehow, that has escaped other areas. That was the point I was trying to make.
Of course. And well, we were talking about even last week. That's why we scheduled for this show, though. When we were touching this issue a little bit, though, we're talking about everybody deserve the right of freedom, the freedom of speech, the freedom of expression, right? Question is this kind of behavior included in the word freedom or not?
Well,
Definition.
as far as I'm concerned, Jack, I will defend forever that people have a right under the freedom of speech to say things that I don't agree with.
All right, let them say that. I agree.
Okay? That's
I'm
a
okay
freedom.
with that. I'm okay with that.
I come back to, but you have a responsibility to be respectful. You see, we're forgetting that other piece
Excuse me if I inserted you.
in a social
Yeah.
environment.
If excuse me for interrupting, right? Okay, now you're talking about a freedom of expression, right?
Yes.
And of course, we do allow you the freedom of speech, of expression. However, there are a moment of no speech. There are a moment of silence, right? What if we say, ladies and gentlemen, please rise, da 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 da. There goes the national anthem, and you started applying your freedom of speech. You make a speech.
Then you'd be disrespectful and find some former service member's fist in your mouth
Exactly. Exactly.
because you're not being respectful.
Exactly.
That's
That's what I'm talking about. It's not universal, all right? It's not universal. You have to obey within parameter. Within the
Some
parameter.
social bounds.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
You go to court, when court is in session, you started chattering and say, I applying my freedom of speech, I'm making a speech. Oh, your wife's beautiful, blah, 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 blah. Like that, you want to do that? Or you kick it out of court. Am I right?
Well, I would, as I just said, I would hope that some servicemen would just,
Just give him a
yes,
punch on the nose and send him out.
fat lip where he can't speak any.
Yeah, so that's why we get stuck. Okay, now, back to the old question though. You mentioned the baseball players, right? You mentioned the football players. You mentioned the entertainers, right? I believe among the three, one goes worse than the other. One is worse than the other.
Well, recently, last year, this year, it's been the football players, started with this kid from San Francisco, that began this take the knee thing that has developed a life
That's
of its own.
disrespect.
Totally, to me.
That's disrespect.
Completely.
And the Supreme Court ruling to allow that kind of disrespect is a slam on its own face, on Constitution.
No, Jack, that's the strength of the freedom. The freedom is they have the freedom to do that.
No, they
But
don't
it-
have the freedom to do that.
Well, then we
They
don't
have
agree.
the freedom to do it elsewhere. If they respect somebody, they can kneel down, they can raise their fist in the air, they can take their pants off, whatsoever is their freedom. I don't care. I don't care. At that specific moment, when 99.999% of people do it the one way, unique way, you got to be doing the unique way. All right.
My view is that society needs to push back and to say that's unacceptable because I don't want the government getting involved deciding what's in or out of the freedom. The freedom allows them to do it. Society is the check and balance to say when it's appropriate.
You're right. Mhm.
In my house, I have exhibited my freedom by turning off the National Football League.
Exactly. All right, good. All right, my dear friend, I like that position. I like that strong position. I strongly like your position. My dear friend, let's take a short moment now. We come back. Probably we shall dig a little bit more to find out what has caused it. What has caused it? So stay with me. Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow, on the East West Show with GNE TV. With me today is my mentor, Mr. Drexel Smith, my dear brother of the same mother, who I respect a lot. Oh yeah, don't love. I learn a lot through you. Plus, every time when I meet you, man of the old style, man of the old school, though, I feel like I'm a man. I'm man from the wild somewhere. All right, good. Okay, let's respect. Use your word, right? Good. Now, talking about why this society, with the media, with the system, with the government, would allow that disrespectful things to happen, I happen to mention a friend of mine named Ivan Chang. He's working on his book talking about rational thinking, right? In his analysis of rational thinking, there are 5 kinds of rational ways of thinking. First, the instrumental rational thinking, which means if I need a screwdriver provides me the power to twist it, and and rationally, I recognize this is a useful tool. So you use your instrumental thinking, and then the next step is value rationality. So you're talking about what significance would it bring to the society, to mankind, right? And then the third, you're talking about the mutual reliance, mutual dependence, not independence, mutual dependence, rational thinking. And then by, and it's talking about altogether 5 kind of them. Now, okay, back to the society you described of your days, right? If you throw a wrapper of your ice cream on the ground, though, somebody would say, "Hey, kid, pick it up," and you would, you would very regretfully, "I'm sorry, you pick it up." You obey. These days, you try it. They will look at you in a very strange eye.
Oh, it's worse.
Yeah.
The kid would go to the mother and say, "That man's picking on me." They call the police, and all of a sudden it would spin into a horrible child abuse problem.
Yes, exactly.
We have
exactly.
gotten completely out of balance.
Altogether, what has caused it? And we come back to the question that I asked 2 segments ago. So, was that a lack of education caused it?
Well, again, if I can bring back to some of the theorists and people like Professor Putnam in Harvard, they believe it's a number of factors that have a lot to do with economic challenges that have separated classes and made the importance of things different. But I think to answer your specific question, I think what we've gotten is the legal system. This is now a Drexel Smith opinion. I think we have allowed the legal system of lawyers through their litigious world to create a way of life that's completely out of balance with appropriate practice. Coming back to the kid and the wrapper, I would have never questioned an adult who said, "Pick it up." I would have never thought twice if I waited too long to get smacked. It would have not been a question.
But today you cannot do it.
And what's created that is this litigious world that we live in, which comes back to social responsibility. These lawyers are like sharks that are feeding because they're trying to feed their financial way. To me, they have far exceeded the rights and responsibilities.
And also the law, the whole system, the whole justice system is leading one way. All right? To the everyday normal fact of life, though, there are bad men, bad women. Am I right? Right?
Some percent.
By proportion.
Some
by
percent,
proportion,
yeah,
right?
yeah, sure.
By proportion. Now, if you get a domestic violence call, the moment the cops walk in, the husband gets handcuffed without asking, no word, no nothing. There goes the handcuff, right? So why would it get away? Well, it is society. And then the next thing will be Me Too.
Well,
And then the next day they're going, Me Too. And then 2 miles down there the block, hey, Me Too. Another woman like 40 years ago with a story, Me Too. It goes on, they join what they call, what I call the party.
and
Am
you
I
see,
right?
Jack, I am more attitude-wise a libertarian, that I don't agree that the police should be given the authority to walk in and handcuff the man.
Yeah, of course, that's what they do.
But, well,
without asking,
but
I
that-
guarantee.
But that protocol has been developed and pushed by the police as a matter of self-protection, as opposed to sending in somebody to analyze the situation, that maybe they need a social worker, maybe they need a drug expert. I think we've gotten completely out of balance in how we're managing a lot of our social issues.
Exactly. All right. So now this trend itself, though, well, I'm just picking up the police officer handcuffed the husband as a random example. There are many things taken that way.
I agree.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I mentioned the Me Too thing. Of course, the sexual harassment is it's not right. It's illegal. Right? Okay, now, and there in Orange County, there is an office called Sexual Harassment Office in dealing with the problems, in dealing with the complaints, right? How about racial harassment? How about age harassment? How about obesity harassment, right? And discrimination. How about racial discrimination? How many offices, you tell me, do we need now that they have a gender discrimination office, right? How many other offices do we have? Are we exaggerating certain areas? Are we allowing certain areas to be taken advantage of? Brother?
Well, I think our society here in America has, for the last 150 years, been completely obsessed with the sex word. I think we are completely out of balance.
Yeah, of course. I agree.
With anything that's rational.
I agree. I totally agree. But what did you do? Why did you come out 40 years ago? Why didn't you come out 40 years ago? Why didn't you walk out 40 years ago? Why didn't you say something 40 years ago at a time when you were offended?
Oh, instead of, you're talking about the Me Too speeches? Well, that's another issue.
30
because
years.
Today, they think that they can have an advantage. Today, they think they can set the stage for a lawsuit, and I come back to this legal system out of control that's like sharks on the frenzy. They think they can get money. So they use you as an excuse to go get money. I think it's the system, the legal system is out of control.
And also the court is misleading. Suppose if the court give a ruling, say, hey, you guys cannot kneel down, you cannot do the fifth thing, you have to do what the majority do, right?
Well,
you have to do 99.999% do, right? So what risk would the Supreme Court run into if they did so?
Well, Jack, let me answer that by coming back to another key point. There's few people on this planet that are more defending of a woman's right to say no to sexual engagement than I am. I am very defending of a woman that is protecting herself from a boss that says, participate or you're fired. She has a right that she doesn't have to do that. I am very defensive of that. At the same time, where we have migrated, where the boss smiles and says, you're attractive today with that dress, doesn't define itself as creating a hostile workforce. We have completely flipped around this whole topic. And to have people that are so sensitive that they take any comment and go, oh my God, I need a counselor. I mean, look what's happening at colleges. We have our students that are asking for counseling because the college is bringing in a guest speaker. I mean, my friend, we've completely gone nuts with this.
And we're going nowhere. Okay, now,
When I was that age, Trust me, I was doing things different.
Look at the Supreme Court ruling about the cake ruling,
Oh,
right?
well, we've
So,
talked on that.
oh yeah, good. We're talking about it, but we still have to meander it a little bit, right? So, without that, we still pointing fingers at the baker, Mr. Brown,
Yeah.
right?
But
Mr.
Jack,
Brown was the one
Jack,
that
think
caused
about
the war.
this. We've got kids saying, "I feel emotionally disabled because of a guest speaker on my college campus," when we have 2/3 of the people on the planet, billions of people that are working hard every day just to figure out how to eat.
People are getting rapacious, all right?
Oh, my
They're
gosh.
so rapacious. This morning I heard over the news, a guy filed a lawsuit against his doctor because doctor wrongfully diagnosed his cancer. And the doctor did call, so that's the only chance he knew that was a misdiagnosis. God said, Mr. Smith, for example, Mr. Smith, I'm very sorry. I read the number wrong, and you're okay. You do not have cancer. I'm very, very sorry. And well, for the inconvenience, for whatsoever, well, I feel guilty. I'm very sorry with that. Using that and using the diagnosis, he sued him in court for $2.5 million, so something dollars for mental
Anguish.
depression.
Yeah. Well,
What's wrong with people, man? What's wrong?
the two R words, we've lost respect and responsibility.
Yeah, all right, good. We're obviously way over time. I forgot the whole thing, whole damn party. I mean, the time concept. Anyway, my dear friend, excuse me for being lengthy, but we deserve it. All right. Subject to my editor, I'll allow him to cut myself off. All right. With Mr. Jackson Smith, we really had some good time, and please trust me, we need to come back. My audience will ask us to come back on this issue. Well, wait until the feedback.
We
they will.
can discuss the old philosophers that debated on how many angels did dance on the head of the pin.
The angels are lost. The other day I found somebody spell Los Angeles, lost angels. Right. All right. Anyway, my dear friend, we'll see you next time.